Yeah. So we're up to episode 12, PCB Show. Yeah.
Last time I checked, we were on episode 12, but we got more coming.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have a really awesome guest today, actually, Safiya.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear about your story because you've got a lot. You've done a lot actually, and you've travelled around everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Safiya, what's your background as well in dancing?
So I started with like jazz and tap, and then I moved on to contemporary, which is still a big part of my life, and then I found ballet and hip hop last, which is kind of what I'm training the most at. Yeah.
The two styles.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like my progression through to today. Yeah.
Holy shit, so when did you start jazz and contemporary? How old were you?
I started when I was about 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been in your whole life almost.
Yeah. Yeah. To think that like people start when they're like 2. I feel like I've started late, but yeah.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, definitely it's been a part of my life for a long time, like since I was a kid, and I was always just dancing around the house as most of us used to. And I definitely in the last maybe 5 to 7 years have been training the most. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
What made you start dancing?
I wasn't good at anything else. I just wasn't good at anything else, and my parents just put me in it because I just wasn't excelling in any other kind of like thing that they would put me in, like music or art. So I guess they kind of noticed that I was into just dancing around the house. So they were like, okay, let's put her in a class, and it just kind of took off from there.
So you were quite active?
Yeah, always. I definitely was a more physical child, and my sister was more of a art kind of person. Yeah,
sit down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same. I can relate with that. I can't
sit down.
Yeah, I can't sit down.
No.
No way.
True.
Yeah. So tell us your story with how you actually got into learning hip hop and choreography.
Cool. So it was back in like about 2012 when Trilogy or The Tribe was around. It was directed by David Wynn at the time. So it was a Perth-based crew, and I auditioned for them with my friend Sibylla, and Steve was in it, and Seto was going to be in it as well. We all auditioned and we got in. So it was back a long time ago when we were all coming up.
Yeah.
So I started learning hip hop with him more seriously around 2012. And it was only until about after I graduated from university, I left for New York in 2013. And I kind of was like, I really want to go to the source of where hip hop came from for me to learn. So I got into a full-time program there in New York, and I studied for about 4 months, in which I did all styles of like jazz, contemporary. It was compulsory to do ballet, but I made hip hop my focus. So I was doing about 5 classes out of the 12 that we had to do for hip hop, and then just like researching on the side. And that's when I started to learn a lot about breaking and house and locking and popping and everything that came under this umbrella of hip hop. And it was obviously just so cool to learn it in New York. Being the source and the home of hip hop. So that's where I kind of really gained an understanding of how it's meant to go. But mind you, it took me many years to kind of get to where I am now, because I was kind of still just a jazz dancer learning hip hop, and it just wasn't sitting right on my body. But I'm not gonna lie, going to New York and learning from the people there definitely shaped the way that created my advancements in the style. So that's how I got into hip hop.
Yeah, that's wicked. So you were there for 4 months, did you say?
Yeah, I was. So that's when I started traveling. So I was there for 4 months, and then I came back for a year, and then I left again.
Back
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came back here, and then you left again
I went to Singapore first to do some training there, and then I moved my entire life to Vancouver in Canada.
Oh wow,
Holy shit.
that's very unique.
Yeah, so I packed all my bags, got rid of everything I owned here, and I left to Vancouver. Sorry. Yeah,
Vancouver.
yeah, and that was solely to pursue my career in dance.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was kind of want to go back to New York.
Yeah.
So how did you end up landing that program, and was it for a specific institution?
Yeah, so it was a part of Broadway Dance Centre. It's a well-known program. I think I just always knew that I wanted to go to New York, so I just started researching programs in New York that I could go do. I have many friends that have done it, and it's an amazing opportunity that Broadway gives to international students. So it's specifically for internationals. So you can come from anywhere in the world, you can apply, and then just wait to see if you get in. More chances that you will always get in, because they just want people to go and do
really?
this. Of course. Yeah.
I thought that sounds like a very very
Pristine?
like elite,
No.
elite pristine opportunity, only for the greatest of the great. As I feel like with all programs or creative programs in big major cities.
Nah, it's a very welcoming program. I still to this day would encourage young dancers to go do it, or any dancers to do it, if they're trying to just elevate their training in such a short amount of time. But I remember when I started, there were, even myself, like just, there were beginners, and then there were already people that were so advanced doing this program from, there were people from Thailand, there were people from China, there were people from Japan, like everywhere.
Wow.
So,
I'm so curious to know, like, what were there, like, what the highlights were in New York for you. What were those wow moments that happened over there? Like, were there a lot of parties going on, or just real spontaneous moments that you remember that really?
The whole thing was so crazy. Like, to come from Perth and just being I was only 21 at the time, so it was, the whole thing was just crazy in itself. There were parties everywhere, house parties everywhere. I was definitely, as I always am, in training mode, so I was really focused on that. And I think I've always loved traveling, so on my spare time I'd rather just go explore the city. And everything in New York is just so cool. Like, I don't know if have you guys been?
No.
Yeah.
Missing out.
Yeah, it's just such a cool place. Like, there's something to do all the time. There's something going on all the time. There's always an underground party you can go to. There's always a streetwear event that you can go to. And there are battles everywhere. There are just opportunities for you to go view dance, to go see dance, to go learn about dance. Like, there's events, there's like street events, all surrounded about dance and things like that. It's just such a vibing place. And it's like, you don't need to look far to learn from someone dope, or you don't need to go far to try something new. So and it wasn't like I was restricted to Broadway Dance Centre. I was taking class at different studios and different places, and people on the come up in New York, their opportunity to take their classes as well, which was cool, like just taking from like people like you and I that are willing to share. It was just a lot, like I was doing a lot, and there was just so much going on that for me to just absorb in New York, definitely kick-started the rest of my life till today, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh wow,
it was definitely like the spark that I needed to be like, I want to continue to be overseas. Because I think seeing and meeting people in this international program and be like, wow, like, you're from Japan, I need to go to Japan to see what they train like. And then I met someone from Canada who was actually my roommate, and I was like, I need to go to Canada to see what you guys are like. It was just definitely a nice spark that got me going.
For sure.
Sick. Wow. Man, I really want to go. So how long were you in Vancouver for? Because you said you moved your whole life there.
So I was in Vancouver for about 2 years, or just under 2 years, and then I moved to Toronto, which was more like felt like more like home for me. And I was there for another 2 years.
Oh wow, Canada, huh?
Yeah.
What was the dance scene like over there?
It's amazing. Vancouver is like, the city is quite similar to Perth. I found the city vibe. But I think to this day, Canada has shown me that they have some of the best dancers that I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not just being biased because they're my friends, but it's just like they are just so talented and such great people. There's no limits to what they can and can't do and what they can and should learn. They just are all very open-minded dancers, which makes them so elite. And to be welcomed into those communities, I feel like was just such a blessing for me.
Yeah.
Just so much to learn from. But Vancouver, I found was definitely quite smaller than Toronto. Toronto was quite similar to New York if I was to compare them. And I just found in Toronto there was more opportunity for me to be myself. And as I kind of progressed through being a dancer, I was like, I still want to be, industry level, but I still want to be able to be myself. Like I still want to be able to move like me and be acknowledged for that. And I felt like Toronto kind of gave me that opportunity. So it definitely sat better with me there. Yeah.
So in Vancouver, you felt like you weren't necessarily able to dance like yourself?
Yeah.
What was going on in Vancouver that made you feel that way?
That's a good question. I think when I'd left for Vancouver, I still wasn't sure of myself. I didn't really have enough self-love. I didn't truly believe in myself. And I think as all artists are, like when you don't believe in yourself and when you don't love yourself and you don't, you kind of have confliction within yourself. You can't be the best that you want to be. You know, you're constantly comparing yourself to other people and to other dancers. And moving to Vancouver was difficult. It's the first time that I was like, I'm just going to book a one-way ticket and just do this and try and book gigs and be great. And I just wasn't prepared for how elite they were. And I kind of went into another training program there, and they really, they taught me a lot. And I think I learned more about self-love than dancing in Vancouver, which was a complete breakthrough for me in my career, because I think after that moment when I realized that, that I, A, didn't love myself up until this moment, and then B, having a complete flip and being like, no, like I am enough and I can do this, kind of set me up for success in Toronto.
Nice.
It wasn't that Vancouver wasn't good enough or anything. Like they're amazing, and I learned so much from that city and those people, and people that are still my friends still today. But my journey in Vancouver was very much about finding myself. To then when I went to Toronto, I just kind of was like able to train and put myself in the right foot. I get what you mean. So they were both completely like juxtaposed cities, but were such valuable times in my life to get me to where I needed to be.
Were there any specific events or experiences in Vancouver that you're like, okay, like now's the time that I need to start, like now I need to realize that I actually am worth it, or I need to love myself?
I think when I booked one of my first jobs there, which was a music video, I was just so excited, and it was nice to have been go through a full audition process and then get an email to be like, hi, I would love to have you. And that was like a moment where I was like, wow, I can do this. I'm worth it. I can do this. They liked me for me. I just put my best foot forward, and it was like all of my training up until that point was put into play, and then had a great outcome. And I think it was definitely a turning point for me to be like, I can do this. And it's crazy to think that like you book one job and that can change your opinion about yourself and your value and stuff. And it motivated me to want to keep trying harder and training more. And it wasn't like, oh, I've made it. It's like, okay, this is one stepping stone to where you might want to be, which I didn't really know where I was going. But it was definitely a nice turning point, booking that job.
Nice.
Wow, that's nice.
It was.
Damn. So you did you didn't just learn from people, you were doing a lot of shows, like theatre shows or video films?
Music videos. So in the sense of like work that I was booking, it was a lot of music videos. I ended up getting into the commercial world, so like film and TV.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was really cool. And that was all kind of happening in Toronto. So they have like a massive industry for film and TV. Right. Now, obviously, they have Netflix and stuff that's happened out there, and a lot of the Netflix shows get filmed in Canada. And getting experience in film and TV was really cool. Like, that was another thing that I was like, oh, I didn't know that I could do this, but I can.
Yep.
And yeah, learning about those audition processes and how different it is to a dance audition. You know, like acting is quite different to dance, but they're all under the same umbrella of skills. Learning how to perform for camera, which is different to performing on stage. Like learning all these kind of things was quite cool too, and interesting. So yeah, that's kind of like how that progressed as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Seems like you experienced a lot.
Yeah.
And then, so you must have had a lot of momentum, and then you came back to Perth?
Yeah. So during like those 4 years that I was in Canada, I was traveling like once a month to different cities around to continue to train. So like every city that I visited, I would go out of my way to find a class or take class or connect with the community and meet people along the way. So yeah, I've danced a lot in America as well.
Yep. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I was definitely in and out of the States a lot, taking class and yeah, just traveling and stuff like that. Like it's an amazing place to be. After Canada, I came back to Perth for 3 months, just to reset, and then I moved to China for a year.
That's right. This is too long. Goodbye.
Yeah, people are just like, oh, are you back? Did you leave? Are you here? I don't know. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm coming or going. Yeah, so China was then just very, very spontaneous, which is interesting because I'm always a planner, and I kind of just decided this 1 month and I just applied, and yeah, I went over there for a different purpose. I think after Canada, I really started to focus on teaching. And I take a lot of pride in teaching and actually like teaching kids properly about dance and dance education. So I went to China to actually teach English. And just gain another experience living abroad. I was obviously dancing on the side there, like taking class. I was teaching dance on the side there too.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I think teaching English to non-English speaking communities was something that like really intertwined into how I can teach dance today. It was like just such a challenging job to go into a classroom and try and teach kids that don't have any idea what you're saying, and like learning about those skills and how I can translate them into dance teaching, because also when I was teaching dance, they still don't know what I'm saying, so it's like almost like I might as well just not speak. Might as well just not count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because they don't know what that means. So how am I going to get these students or these dancers to get this choreography? Like how do you actually do that? And it was a really cool learning process. And even myself when I was training, taking class, they're obviously only speaking Chinese. So how do I learn in a different language? You know, like you have to be so adaptive to the way that you train. You have to be so open-minded. It's like all other senses kick in because you've got nothing else. And like when they're giving feedback, like you have to watch so attentively to the change in the class because you don't actually know what they're saying. And so it definitely like was a really cool, that was another really cool learning experience that I had living in China and teaching in China.
Such a much better teacher than doing that.
I hope so.
Yeah,
like
how did you do that? How did you teach kids? Like, like maybe you put like some Google Translator on and say, just watch what I'm doing.
Just like, you just, I don't know. I think because in a classroom you're all like just willing to learn. So like they come in with an open mind, but your demonstrations through movement have to be so clear.
Yeah.
Your direction has to be so clear. Like if you don't know the counts, they're not going to get it. If you don't know the musicality, like sounds, then they're not going to get it. And I think that really advanced the way that I teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like even learning from the greats or the people that I look up to in Canada and Toronto and America, they know their choreography inside and out. They know the counts, they know the beats, they know the lyrics. They could do it with their eyes closed, you know, they could do it in reverse. And I feel like as a teacher, when I was teaching my students in China, I needed to be at that level.
Yep.
And I think moving forward, we should all be at that level as a teacher. Because if you have someone that can't understand English or is blind or is deaf, and there's all these, you know, differentiation that you have to do as a teacher, how are you going to get your students at the same level? And I think that's something that like really resonated with me in China, and coming back to Perth and now teaching a lot, just carrying forward with that. And I think, we call it differentiation because you kind of get a mixed bag, and I'm sure you guys get it with breaking as well. Someone that's a beginner and then someone that's a bit more advanced, but how are you going to cater to all of these people? Yeah. So that was, and I think that's like where I'm at now, just still really trying to strive to be a great teacher. And and a good role model for students who want to be teachers. Yeah, which is what China kind of did for me. And I also travelled a lot of Asia when I was there, so that was cool too.
Oh man,
yeah,
you did so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been been away for 5 years and got to do all this stuff.
What else were you doing in China? So you weren't just teaching, right? Was there any? I know you switched lenses, right? So you were just focusing on teaching, or were there any other projects or performances that you were working on as well?
In China, I was mainly just teaching and training. And what's really interesting about Asia is that they call a lot of American choreographers to China. Yeah. And they stay there for like a month. So my time in China was almost like I was in America. Like I was just like dancing with people from LA, and there was like choreographers left, right and center, choreographers from Japan. So even though I was kind of like stuck in China while I was teaching English, I had the opportunity to dance with all these different choreographers from still all around the world, because they just happened to be in the same city as me, or I would travel to Shanghai to take their class specifically because I knew they were coming on a weekend or something like that. So yeah, I felt like I was still training a lot, like at the same level that I would have in Canada.
Oh wow.
But
that's a blessing, right?
Yeah, super fortunate. I just didn't think it would be that way, and I got there and I was like, oh, this person's here and this person's here. It's like a really cool hub to be in.
Yeah, and they're all high level too, right?
Yeah, really good training. Yeah, really cool. I didn't really work on any projects. Usually when I worked on a few projects of my own in Canada, and I'm currently, working on some here in Perth. Yeah.
Are you allowed to share with us?
Yeah, sure. When I was in Toronto, I have a very good friend of mine. Her name's Kat. She's a videographer. And I really got into creating films with her. So actually an actual concept video rather than just choreography. Yeah. So, and she taught me a lot about how to create films and, learning things about like camera angles and lighting and all that kind of stuff that goes into a film. So when I was with her, I created 2 films, and currently being back, I am in the works for another 2. One I'm really excited for. It's going to be a contemporary film, and the concept's about change and control. So I think that's also another thing that I'm really embracing in my journey at this point in time is creating films and dance on film. And I think with my experiences of choreography and learning about being on set and how you perform for a camera, and translating those films into my own ideas it's really rewarding, like being able to see it, the end result, and be like, wow, like I made this. So that's kind of like where I'm progressing into as well.
Like People Eat Animals, that video you did?
Yeah, that was a music video.
That's sick.
That was, like cool. Learning all from those experiences. Like every music video that I do and like every commercial that I've done, like learning from those jobs to then being able to translate them into my own. Really, really cool. And I love dance on film. Like being able to
dope experience.
And like create a concept and like use our bodies and dance to elevate this concept and bring it to life. And like in a film, you don't need to be like, this is what this is about. You can just leave it up to interpretation of the audience and use that different medium of like camera and lighting and stuff to create an atmosphere. It's like so different to anything I've done before. So I love learning about that and working on those projects, which is really cool.
Sick.
Where are these being published? Where have your previous works been published, and where are you putting these ones up?
So they're all on YouTube,
right.
And they are on my website, which I have.
Oh, hell yeah.
I made a website.
What's the site called?
It's just safiyakorolya.com.
Okay.
You can find it on my Instagram if you want.
Okay, cool.
We'll put a link.
Yeah, cool. So you can find my videos on there, my films, sorry. And then, for the future ones, they'll also go on there and on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
Dope.
Yeah.
Okay. What else are you doing in Perth right now? During COVID, were you planning to go anywhere else? A bit of a yo-yo, but now the COVID stopped you.
So it's because of COVID that I had to come back. Again, spontaneously. I didn't really have a choice. I was traveling the Philippines, and they were like, they were like, you can't come back to China, go home. So I came with like nothing. All of my stuff was left in China.
Oh. Wait, it's still there now?
What?
Oh, I just got it back like last month. So it's been about, 6 months without all my shoes were there, my MacBook was there, my hard drives, all my documents.
Wow, so you can even go back, you're just like, you're just in the Philippines and like, you gotta go back?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
Like just had not many clothes and I've just been waiting for my stuff. And then finally got it back, which took a long time. And I was meant to be in the UK by now. Around this time of the year I was planning to be in the UK to kind of restart my process and see the community out there and learn from those dancers. And there's a huge industry in London, so I was gonna see how I do there. I really enjoy being the bottom of the food chain. I really enjoy like just kind of going somewhere, not really knowing anyone or they don't know me, and just kind of it's a really humbling experience to check yourself. To be like, oh, okay, I'm in London now, this is how they do it. Can you adapt? Can you be noticed? Can you learn something from this? Can you build from that? 100%. So, I mean, I've kind of then now come to terms with that maybe traveling is not going to be a possibility, which is interesting because I didn't realize how much I relied on it. For the last 5 years, being able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, like travel once a month and then have that taken away from you. It was kind of like, okay, what do you have left? Just almost like focusing on being an adult and a role model for my students and focusing on that and just really embracing what Perth has to offer. Taking different classes that I've never taken before. There's obviously, I've been away for so long that it's just like all these new generation dancers have come up and there's new events and there's so many things that Perth is doing that is keeping me going, and I'm so grateful for it because otherwise I would be overseas. But being able to take these classes that I've never taken before and teach at different studios that I've never been to before and just exchange energy with new students and things like that is really cool. But I think like just taking the time to acknowledge that this is where I am. So just be present in Perth and continue to just move forward. And like, it's not like there's nothing going on. Like it would be so naive of me to be like, oh, I don't want to take class here. When there's so many classes that I can take and there's so much talent here, as you both know. So like just jamming with people one-on-one finding the time to like just connect with new dancers through conversation. Yeah, like I'm really enjoying being back and yeah, connecting with new dancers and taking new classes and things like that. So yeah, like otherwise I would be in London, but yeah, just got to deal with what you've got and make it work for you and find the pockets where you fit and what you can do in those moments. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're still doing quite a bit here in Perth then?
Yeah, almost a bit too much.
Too much?
Just,
really?
Yeah, my body's definitely been down every day.
You train hard. You go hard because you're always posting stuff. You're always sharing like your stretching and like how you
mobility.
Like mobility. Something you focus on a lot.
Yeah, I definitely.
What would a training session look like for you in a day?
Probably no different to any other dancer, but like in a day, you know.
Yeah.
It would be. You know, I would probably teach dance during the day, all day, and then come home, eat. I'm always eating. And then, yeah, like if I kind of have set days that I do stuff.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm focusing on contemporary and ballet. I get bored really easy, which is probably why I travel so much and I move around so much, and I have to travel once a month to a new place. Like I can't sit still. We were just talking about that before. Like I just quite, jump around a lot.
Active.
So, for example, you know, like Monday I teach, and then Tuesday I'll go to contemporary. Wednesday I'll try and do like cardio. So yeah, I'll do like a lot of mobility. I've got really bad hips and knees, so I'll do like a full maybe 20 minutes of mobility exercises to just assist with that and recover my body. Things like working up to a run. I've just been able to do like 5K runs and stuff like that. You know, Thursday I'll do another class, whether it be like a lyrical class or a hip hop class. Fridays I'll occasionally go to another class maybe. So I do a lot, and I think in the sense of like physicality, I've stopped lifting a while ago. Like I stopped going to the gym, and I'm really embracing more calisthenics training into my routine of training, being able to lift your own body weight, which I find more beneficial for dance. Like I'm just trying to do things that are more beneficial towards the training. I think before, when I was younger, I was really focused on how I looked and like being like, I need to go to the gym to create this look or meet this goal. But now it's like I need to be doing movement that will benefit this contemporary class that I'm about to do, or this ballet class. So yeah, things like Pilates and stretching that I do quite often, ultimately to benefit the end result of dance. Yeah, that makes sense.
One question: what's lyrical?
Good question. So lyrical is a technical style that will probably fall under the umbrella of contemporary. Okay. However, it is very reliant on the music. Yeah. So in lyrical, we follow the lyrics of the song to then create the movement. Right. Whereas like contemporary would maybe be a bit more conceptual of ideas and things like that. And there's a whole other technique within contemporary, whereas lyrical is just using simple jazz and ballet technique and contemporary technique to then follow the song.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely a new style to me. I was definitely always into contemporary. However, coming back, I just got booked for all lyrical classes. So I've definitely started to study that style and having to like listen to more new music and it's very translatable. Okay. Yeah. So next time you'll see it when you know it, like you know, the music will say something and the move will be directed towards that specific lyric. Yeah.
So you're doing a story within the word.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's a very beautiful style to do. Very freeing and emotive as well.
So it wouldn't be like the animals eating people?
That was like more contemporary.
Okay.
Yeah, that music video was...
right. Makes sense, because you were dressed up as animals in a way.
Yeah. I was a bird for that one.
You were a bird?
Yeah, I was a bird. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Sick. Wow. Because we don't know anything about contemporary.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
You guys should definitely, I feel like breaking and contemporary go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like all the floor work that we do in contemporary is like very similar to breaking, and also kind of, I guess, into like lofting and house and stuff like that. So yeah, you guys should definitely come through.
You guys flow. You flow really well.
So do you guys. I don't know. Trying to get like you guys. Maybe I'll come to a breaking session.
Way. Nah, it's different. But like, no, in that way. Don't try and be like us. But yeah,
oh, yeah.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually do. I find it quite inspirational. Like, I've looked at contemporary dancing before and be like, oh, can I do something like that? Can I take from there in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like you can take from any style. And I think that was always a goal of mine, like being a young dancer, like just to be as versatile as possible, because every style will help with another style. And I think it's dope to be able to be a master of one style, kind of like, I guess, what you guys do. You know, you just train with one style and you become great at that one style, and that's so cool. But for me, I think I, at a young age, learned that my tap will help my jazz, and my jazz will help my tap, and then contemporary will help jazz, and it just kind of like creates this flow-on effect to be an ultimate mover. And I think that I don't really identify as a specific style of dancer. I just enjoy movement. Yeah, which is kind of like why I kind of got into like more calisthenics and stuff, because it's all just translatable into dance. And
of course. Yeah, so you find like it's really helped your dance with everything, with all the different styles, or do you also find it hard to switch on and off to different styles? Like when you think, say, hey, I'm going to do choreography with Logan, and it's like it's way different to something else that you do.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, hey, I just went to a jazz lesson and now I'm going to go do choreography.
Yeah.
Is it hard to switch?
For me personally, not really. I think if I go into something and I'm like, oh, okay, Logan, we're going to choreograph hip hop. As long as we say that it's going to be hip hop, then we can produce. But yeah, I feel like sometimes when I'm freestyling, all of my movement just comes out. It doesn't stay in the one style. Like you could put like a Busta Rhymes track on and I'll be like doing some contemporary something, because it just feels good at that point, you know. But I think I've trained enough to be able to switch on and off, to be like, okay, I'm going to a contemporary class today and I'll be contemporary, and then I'll go to an Afro class on the Friday and be like, okay, I'm going to try to do this Afro. Yeah, and I think that that's the skill in being a versatile dancer, is being able to turn it on and off. And it's difficult. It is, yeah. It's definitely a skill within itself, within the dance itself. But yeah, when it comes to like jamming and freestyling, it's just whatever.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah, just dance, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw you at the Black Lives Matter as well, and you were like partaking in quite a few of those. You were quite versatile.
Yeah, I like to think so.
That's dope. It's
cool.
dope.
Yeah, I mean, that whole event was
Logan
cool.
are both like that.
Yeah, Logan is just a dope mover. I look up to him a lot. And yeah, he's trained, and I think that's the beauty. Like if you train hard, people will see what you can do, you know. And I think then shifting mentality to be like, this is all movement, you know. I think that's definitely something that, as you mature as a dancer or a versatile dancer, that you acknowledge that this is all movement. You know, there should be no limits. If you're a straight contemporary dancer, you say, oh, I can't do hip hop, it's like, well, it's just movement. It's just done, and it's just dancing. And I think Logan and I and many other dancers around the world share that same mental state, which adds to our skill set and our versatility and our ability to dance freely. Yeah. Did
you find it quite common to meet people with the same versatility as yourself when you were traveling around the world?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
100%. I think I met a lot of dancers that were like, kind of looked up to me in the sense that, you know, they were like, oh shit, you're from Australia, and
you come all the way.
Yes. And that was a really cool opportunity for me to talk to those dancers and be like, you can do this too. And then, yeah, going back to what you said, like I did meet incredible young artists and artists all over the world that also just were so versatile that that you connect because it's just through movement. You know, they would never say, oh, you're a hip hop dancer, you can't come to this contemporary session. It's like, hell yeah, just come through. Like, let's learn something. Let's jam. I can learn from you. And that's definitely something that I loved about being overseas at that time, was that people were so open to everyone, every shape, size, color. Like, it was such a uniting experience, like the dance communities that I've trained with. So yeah, definitely.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, really great communities, to be accepted into communities, and just for them to be like, we don't care where she's from or you know what she's done. It's just like, we just want to dance.
Yeah. Were there a lot all style open sessions there as well?
Oh yeah.
Like Vancouver.
Yeah, in Toronto, I actually briefly trained with a foundational hip hop team called Footnotes. And we covered all things like breaking, house, popping, locking, and we would train every week for many hours. And yeah, at least depending on the season, once a week there'll be an all-style battle. There'll be a specific locking battle, popping battles, breaking. There's house sessions happening all the time. Like, there is the avenue for battling. I mean, I'm just speaking from my experience in Toronto, all the time. Like, all the time. It's like a freestyler's haven there. I personally didn't battle, but yeah, my friends would go, and the people that I would train with train for those events.
Wow.
Yeah, whereas I would train to make myself a more rounded dancer, just within for myself, which is always my specific goal when I'm training. But yeah, the battle scenes are insane there, and just the close proximity to New York.
Yep.
They can just fly in and out for those events as well.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, the ciphers that I have seen overseas have just been insane. They're just very skilled, and especially for foundational styles. Popping, locking, breaking, yeah, house. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Very cool.
Man. So then coming back to Perth, you're just like, oh man, I need someone to push me.
Yeah.
You're quite self-motivated though.
Exactly, I was about to say, like, I'm pretty, yeah, I'm always just been independent.
Yeah.
An independent artist, I would say. Like, you've only, at the end of the day, got yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, like, you can't rely on other people to get you to class or get you to the jam or get you to training or to the gym or whatever it is that you're doing for yourself, because people come and go. Like, I've definitely learned that along the way. It's like, people come and go, and people's priorities change, and soon you might not be someone's priority. So what do you have to do? You've got to have your own back, you know? And I think that that's something that I definitely learned. Like, no one else can have you except for you, and you've got to be your own mentor sometimes, and you've got to be your own motivator. And yeah, and I think that comes down with, like, the whole self-love thing that I was talking about, and believing in yourself, because yeah, at the end of the day, all you've got is yourself. And if you don't have your own back, you won't succeed as an artist.
Did you kind of have that point of view when you were in Vancouver, or just because you were in Perth so much, you're like, I need to be more I have to be self-motivated, people come and go?
Yeah, I think leading up, before I started traveling overseas, I was always very independent. But because I was such a young dancer, I was still reliant on my teachers and my mentors and my directors that were shaping me. But I knew when I was like, I think it was like 2011 that I was like, I want to go dance in New York. And from that time that I kind of set that goal as a young dancer, and I only left in 2013, so that was like a 2-year period of me working my ass off to be able to go do that. That's when I kind of started to realize that it's like, you won't be able to save money unless you save money. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. This is a you thing. This is a you goal. This is something that you want to do. So get it done. Like, just get shit done.
Yeah.
Get your head down, get to work. And I think when I left to New York and I got there, no family, no friends, no nothing, just you and thousands of amazing dancers. And then that's when you realize it's like, oh, this is a kick up the butt. You've got to, you've got to have your own back and be independent. Yeah, because it's a tough world, as we all know. The industry that we live in, it's tough. So if you don't have your own back, you will crumble.
You will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you were, what were you doing in the States as well? Because you were traveling around the States as well, right?
Yeah, so that was just all for fun. But like I said before, like I would take class wherever I went. So yeah, I've been to so many places, like Chicago, like everywhere. All down the West Coast, all down the East Coast, a bit in the middle.
This guy was down the West Coast.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I was in California for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing place. Yeah. Were you dancing there?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I was breaking in San Diego and I was breaking in LA for a little as well.
Yeah, cool. So 2 great hubs for dance. I also danced in those places. Well? Yeah, I went to San Diego to dance.
Yeah.
And LA, I was there many times.
What were you doing in, what was going on in LA? Like, where were you?
I mainly trained at the usual places like Movement Lifestyle and things like that. Just in North Hollywood area. And then obviously finding time to go for hikes and do cool stuff. Like I think I really enjoyed dancing at Movement Lifestyle every time that I went to LA.
Oh, yeah.
So I just kind of made it my place to go.
Oh, nice.
But I think, I love LA. It definitely warmed up to me towards the end of it. Like before I was very much into New York and then I really started to enjoy LA. And then, a lot of the traveling, sometimes I wouldn't dance, and especially when I went to like Utah and Arizona, like I just went hiking and I really enjoy being in nature, and it's definitely a humbling experience, to hike.
So were you alone on these hikes, or would you just find people to go with?
I actually went with one of my best friends here in Perth. She met me over there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, very cool. So it was really nice to see her after so many years, and we just met up in America.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you don't realize how much you miss people until you see them again.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll be just like alone wherever I am and I'm like, oh, I miss this person. But until you see them in real life, you're like, holy crap. Like, definitely being away for so long has made me be grateful for the friendships that I do have that are the real ones. Yeah, and you realize just like, again, people come and go and so many things are temporary, and you've got to really count your blessings and the people that support you for real. Like my day ones here in Perth. You know,
give them a shout out.
they're all like my high school friends, you know, even like Logan's been dope to me, and a lot of people have, to be honest, that welcome me with open arms every time I see them. So but my best friends, they're the kind of people that would travel for you. They were like, I'll come to America and let's go hike this mountain together. So
where you at, B? I'm in Arizona. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Literally.
On the way.
100%.
Wow, that's sick.
Super special moments, definitely, to connect with people. And there've been people that have hit me up and been like, oh, I'm in Vancouver, are you here? I'm like, yeah, let's go do this together. And
that's awesome.
People from Perth and old friends and new friends, and it's really nice to like see people overseas and connect with people. It's definitely a small world. Definitely a small world, even though there's so many places to go to.
I feel like dance makes the world feel small. It really does.
100%. And especially now with social media, like we're so well connected to dancers from anywhere. So
That's so true. Right. Any other things that you're looking forward to trying to do as well? Like, I know you're going to London and stuff. Besides that, is it just filming as well that you want to dive into more?
I would really like to create more films. I really would. So if you want to collaborate, anyone, let me know.
Wow, that's cool.
You can make a little film.
Well, I'll keep that in check. Before you go again.
Get me while I'm here. But other than that, like, I'm a pretty low-key person at the moment, like just training hard, and whoever's down to collaborate, I'm always there for them. So yeah, like I'm just really into training and brushing up on skills at the moment, and connecting with like new dancers. That's kind of like where I'm at. And again, like I guess in the line, like on the down low, like just still trying to be a good role model for people, and just being a resource. Like I feel like, you know, we've all done great things, and just letting people know that if they want to have a conversation about traveling, or a conversation like how we're having about what's happening overseas, or how to get there. A lot of people just don't know where to start. And it's like, yeah, fam, like I've done it. Like I'm here. Like if you want to talk about it, let's get you started. And I think, or even when I'm overseas, I still help people online that want to know about visas or anything. Or just like movement in general.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. Every time I come back home, I'm like I'm an available resource to anyone or anywhere. Yeah, for sure.
Damn, you seem such like a nice, caring person. You have to give. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that I try to be. 100%, as I feel like I hope most dancers would be.
That's great that you're trying to help out so many people, especially your youth. I think giving back to community is always important. Always important. How many schools are you teaching at?
Well, unfortunately, just because of COVID, I lost a lot of work, but I'm just at my main studio in Willagee. But I am high school teaching a lot for dance. The Dance Collective. For sure. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Are there any kind of ways that you've been trying to adapt with COVID? Has it shifted you in any kind of way?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, like when we were going all online, that was a huge shift for everyone, right? But now as we kind of come out of it, I think that initial period of being stuck in your home and being isolated made me realize, which I'm sure most people, how grateful it is to be in a studio and how grateful it is to connect with people. And I think that's why I'm so motivated to take class and train and just be outside and jam with people and go to events, because we can. And it's like I have friends overseas that are still stuck in their houses. So I think the whole pandemic thing definitely allowed me to reflect on what I find important to me, and that is being in a studio and just dancing. So it was
a blessing.
Provided some clarity for me. And COVID definitely also got to me on my mental health a lot. So coming out of COVID, I went and sought some professional help, which I'd probably have been putting off for about 6 years. And I think COVID really got me to get my shit together and be like, hey, I need to go deal with this, because it definitely was heightened coming back from the Philippines and coming back from China, not having my belongings and just going through this extreme change, like this extreme moment of transition that was completely out of my control. And I think, dealing with that and then actually going to go see someone for my mental health, to then seeing me now, it's like I'm actually really proud of myself as a person and how I've come out of it. And like you said, like much more positive and much more caring and motivated. So like mental health is something that I'm very passionate about. And especially mental health for dancers. It's definitely, I feel like as an industry dancer, we're trained to push it aside. We're trained to be
resilient.
And like just like athletes, like very athletic mentality. It's like if it hurts, you'll deal with it later. If it's bothering you, you deal with it later. You've got a job to do. And I think I built up a lot of that anxiety. And COVID really made me bring it to my attention that I was a bit unwell, and if I want to be a great role model and a great dancer and a great person and a great teacher, I need to be more educated on mental health for dancers. And
why do you think it gets dancers so much, the mental health?
I think it's just like,
is it the comparing? Because it's so many, and there's only so much opportunity for like those to get to that high level that you want. There's only like that 1% or the 2% for the artists to be successful. I think that's a big part of it, for sure. Like the industry of the way that it's set up, within itself can cause a lot of those things. And like I said before, like if you don't have your own back and you don't have enough self-love, you won't be able to get over those things, like being rejected in auditions. And these are just things that happen to us, but yet no one teaches us how to deal with that. Absolutely.
You know, like they train us so much to get to the audition process, and then they'll say, okay, you've done this great, you look great, now you're going to be cut. But then why aren't we teaching dancers what to do after they get cut? We're just teaching them about that up until that point. And I think it's a lot to do with the industry that we are conditioned to push aside. And like you said, it's like social media is a huge thing now, and your access to be able to compare yourself to other dancers can add to mental health things. And I think because dance is such a art form and it's such a beautiful thing that we all go through these waves of the journey. We all go through it with dance, you know, like it's such a deep art that sometimes we experience things that can set us back, and we just need months to deal with that. Or a lot of us dance because it's an expression and we need to get things off our chest, but if we don't actually deal with those things, like it comes back 100%. I think looking after your mental health is really important as a dancer.
Seek help.
Yes, for sure. Or not even like professional help, just making sure that you've got other dancers or people in your life that you can connect to and be like, hey, like,
good environment.
Just be able to talk to people. Like, don't be afraid of the stigma of what's happening in your life, and because you're a dancer you're meant to be this way. Like break the stigma and break the conditions of what you've been told that you have to be like. Just be real. It's definitely, this year has definitely allowed me to focus on my mental health.
I think it has for a lot of people.
I completely agree. A
lot of people you talk to about that, about this year, they had a lot of time to reflect, to check themselves with that. It's really good, actually, in a way. There's good outcomes out of that.
I agree.
I wanted to ask you, do you ever face rejection when you're auditioning, and if so, do you have any?
I think that like my advice for people that are going through audition experiences, or just even like life experiences that get you a no, you know, like a rejection, you know, take it with grace. I think like really being able to be a graceful dancer or person in dealing with all opportunities and moments with grace is really important. And you know, if we're talking about an audition or something like that, you know, take the no as a lesson, and just thank them for their time, and go home. And I find reflecting is really important about what happened, what you could do better next time. Like, just being able to deal with rejection and no's and things, especially I'm just specifically talking about for industry level dancers, to then not just walk away and be like, okay, that happened, and then not have to worry about it. It's like if you're an athlete, you would go home and you would study that. 100%. You would study that, and you would figure out what you did wrong. You would maybe ask for feedback, and just maybe talk to someone else about that experience and that audition. See if you can get hold of someone that booked it to see what happened after you left. But yeah, I think like even on like a life note, like in a general kind of aspect, like there'll be times that you take class and it's not your best class. Like even outside of like an industry level, like there's so many things that we do as dancers that leave us feeling off. You know, maybe you didn't land it properly, maybe you just wasn't great, maybe you just didn't look good, maybe you weren't wearing the right thing to make you feel good in class. Like everything that you do that can lead you to feeling like you were rejected or feeling like it was a no for you, like just make sure that you are always